Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this episode we're going over how to set up your FiveM server through Iceline Hosting, how to purchase it, how to start it up for the first time, how to do everything, how to drop in your first resources. So Iceline Hosting is a hosting company that makes server hosting quite simple, quite easy, and very quick at a very reasonable price. So they do offer a variety of other hosting such as Minecraft, Rust, Ark, and many more games, as well as VPS, dedicated servers, and even web hosting. But for this episode, we're going over just how to purchase and set up a FiveM game server. So what you want to start off with is go to iceline-hosting.com, link in the description for everything that I go to here today. You want to go to hover over game hosting, go down to view all games, and go to FiveM hosting. So you could read all this here about what is FiveM and why you should choose Iceline, but trust me, when you get the service, it's going to speak for itself. I personally use Iceline every single day, and they are the best host that I've seen by far for FiveM and really for anything in general at the price that you get them at. So we can scroll down here. You could choose the plan that best fits you. For a player base of 20 to 40, I'd recommend the FiveM Plan 3. Anything over 40, you'd probably want to go with the FiveM Plan 4. And if you are running a larger server that has over 100 slots, I'd recommend clicking on the custom plans and seeing the custom plans that you could get here. Now, of course, there's the option to host FiveM off of VPS, but if you are strictly hosting FiveM and nothing else, I'd recommend just going with their game panel. You get the same exact specs for the machine, and it's a lot easier to manage. Iceline manages a lot for you. You don't really have to set much up except just drop in your resources and play. So for this video, we're going to be going with just the FiveM Plan 1, just so I could show you guys what it looks like. So now you're going to click on that, and you're going to see your overall breakdown of the plan. So you're going to get 1 core of i7 at 4.2 gigahertz. This is of a virtual machine, so it's a virtual core. It's 1 gigabyte of virtual memory, 10 gigabytes of storage, unlimited bandwidth, DDoS protection, which by far some of the best DDoS protection I've ever seen in a server host. Really amazing DDoS protection. And whenever you do get attacked, they are right on it to help you overcome that attack and help you give you all the resources that you need to get your server back up and running. So you could choose your billing cycle if you want to. So you want to prepay the server for the entire year. You can just by doing that. But for this, we're just going to go with 1 month. So now you're going to see here the locations. It's all about where you want to host your server. You can see the ping. This ping is for you. So personally, I recommend that if you're hosting a American and like slightly UK based server, go for like Virginia, because that's going to be East Coast of America, very centralized for the UK and for the West Coast of America, and of course obviously the East Coast of America as well. But of course, it's all up to you on where you want to host your server, where you think your player base is going to be coming from. But for me, I'm going to go with Virginia, USA. Now, the server host name, this is how you're going to see it on the game panel itself. You're going to be able to set your host name for the server on FiveM later on down the road. So for this, I'm just going to call this Iceline Hosting Demo Panel. And then, of course, you have your available add-ons. You could get an installation add-on of 5 scripts, just $13 one time. Or you could get the performance boost if you just need that little bit more extra boost out of your CPU. You could pay $20 monthly and get just a little bit more out of that CPU. Get a little bit more out of the server, which I think is a very good deal. So now you're going to click continue. Then it's going to prompt you to, you could read about that one. It's going to prompt you to check out. Now, if you have a promo code, you can use it. You can get a promo code from any partners, as well as you can see the description below for my promo code. Then you're just going to click on check out. You're going to enter all your details in here. Obviously, mine are blurred out, but then you can scroll down, choose your payment method, anything like that. Then just click on I have read and agreed to the terms of service. If you want to pay through PayPal, please note that once you complete the order, you're going to have to go to billing, my invoices, and then you're going to see the status is going to say unpaid. You're going to have to click on that, and you're going to see right up here PayPal. You have to click on that PayPal logo, and then you're going to have to authorize automatic billing for your PayPal. This is Iceline's way of reoccurring billing, so that you know that you're getting reoccurring billed, and it's just overall easier, and it's so that you don't have that reoccurring billing that you didn't even know you signed up for. This way, you know you signed up for it, you know what's happening. So I think that it's pretty nice that they do that, so that you know that you're actually getting that reoccurring monthly bill every single month. I think that's really nice. So once this invoice status says paid, you're gonna want to head over to your game panel here, and you're gonna see my Iceline Hosting demo server. So now for you, it may stay installing. Give it about 5-10 minutes to finish installing and setting itself up for the first time. Then you could just click on Manage Server, and for you, it's gonna be stopped. So let me just show you what that's gonna look like. So for you, it's gonna be stopped as you have a blank command prompt right here. So this is where you're gonna be starting. So for a first time startup, there's a few things you need to do. You need to go to configuration, startup parameters. You're going to need to set a FiveM license key. So to set the license key, you're going to go to keymaster.fivem.net, press enter. So just so you guys can see, I'm just going to update my startup parameters just like this. And although you could also click on this right here, FiveM license key info. Click on this. This is important information on how to get your FiveM license key correct. So I want the keymaster. Now this has to be entered exactly as it's shown here. I need to sign in before managing my keys. If you do not have a FiveM account already, it's going to prompt you to make one. Okay? So make one, authorize it for the permissions that it needs, then go in and you're going to click on register. Then the label, it says to make the label server. Now for the server IP, it's telling me to use 51.195.133.134. I'm going to type that in there. Now it says other for the server type. Now provider, do not write Iceline. Write in the B6669209 or whatever it says here for your provider. Write that. Make sure that it says that. Okay? Do not put Iceline. Then click on OK. And then I'm just going to put on I'm not a robot. I'm going to click generate. And now I've generated my server. So the initial IP here, that if you hover over this, you're going to get the server license key. Do not share this license key with anyone, or else they're going to have access to your server, as well as possibly your Patreon benefits if you use that. So that's going to move me on to my next portion here, where it says max players. If you want to have anything over 32 max players, you must subscribe to the FiveM Patreon. Now, if I go to the FiveM Patreon here, patreon.com/FiveM, link in the description as well. So you're going to need to subscribe to any level that is the FiveM Club Argentum or higher. I believe that Snail Team 6 does not get you that. I believe that's strictly Discord benefits. So you'd want to buy Argentum, Arum, or Platinum. Personally, if you're going for just the base 64 slots, you want to use EUP, you want to use all that nice stuff, you want to use OneSync, just go with $15 a month. Now, of course, if you're going to want to go for the 100, if you want to go for the 1024 slots with OneSync Infinity, and you want to use all the crazy cool stuff and have your server flash red on the server listing, then you can go for the Platinum Club. But at a minimum, you need the Argentum to be able to get up to 64 slots, use OneSync, use EUP, and all that good stuff. So now I'm just going to put my, so now obviously I'm just going to keep my max players at 8. Please note though, when you do buy the Patreon, it could take up to 6 hours for your benefits to actually go into effect. They'll automatically go into effect if your Keymaster account, which is your FiveM account, is linked with your Patreon account. Just make sure it's the same exact email. That's how easy it is to link it. And then you'll immediately get your benefits. Well, they'll automatically kick in. Just give it up to 6 hours. I'd recommend checking about every 30 minutes or so to see if you've got your benefits. Just restart the server, see if you can log on with OneSync. Things like that. That's all you have to do. It takes up to 6 hours. You get an email detailing that in the email as well. So once we've got everything here configured, I'm just going to click on Update Startup Parameters just like this. And now there's a few more things that we could do. So we could go to server info here, and we could see our connection address. This is one way of connecting to the server, but I'm going to show you another way as well in a minute here. So Sftp Settings. Sftp is one way that you're going to be able to add resources into the server. This is how you're going to add in your own resources that maybe aren't that aren't in the mod manager. So I'm going to show you guys the Sftp, but I do want to bounce over to mod manager really quickly, just so you can see here. So the mod manager is Iceline's way of giving you a few very commonly used resources that you can pre-install here right onto your server. So for this tutorial, we're just going to be installing vmenu. I'm going to click on OK, and we're going to click on install ESX v1, just so I could show you guys both versions of how you'd set this up with a vmenu server and with the ESX server. So please also note here that whenever you use the ESX, you're going to have an SQL file to install into your database. So I'm just going to click on OK, and I'll show you guys what that means in a second. So now we've got these two installed, we can go to the file management, and you're going to see we have the ESX v1 SQL, and if we go into our resources folder, we're going to have our vmenu as well as our ESX and essential mode already set up for us. So aside from using the mod manager and this file manager here, you do have the option of using Sftp. To log into Sftp, I personally use WinSCP. I find it to be the better of the FTP setting options that you could use, but of course you could use FileZilla and things like that as well. So I'm gonna show you guys here. Let me bring this over like that, and I can't move it like I can sort of move it. So just so I can show you guys, I'm gonna copy my connection address here, just like that. It's gonna automatically set up my port for me, and then my username right here, and then as it says right here, the Sftp password is your account password. So make sure that you have your account password on hand. Also make sure that if you're using FileZilla, that you set your file protocol to Sftp. If you're using WinSCP, it automatically sets it for you. So now I'm going to click login, and now I'm logged in to my server files. This is how I could put in my own files that may not be found in the mod manager, just by simply doing this. So now I am going to show you guys how to set up a database through Iceline Hosting as well. So I'm going to drag this SQL file right to my desktop here. This does not remove it from the FTP. This just drags it onto my desktop. So now I'm going to minimize the FTP for right now, and we're going to make a database. So Iceline gives you one free database whenever you buy a FiveM server hosting. So all we have to do here is you have to go to Management, go down to Databases, and you'll see that I already have one made, but I'm going to show you guys how to make one completely. So I'm just going to delete my database here, and now this is what it's going to look like for you. No database is made. So I'm just going to call this one FiveM, and then I'm going to type, then I'm going to click Create New Database, and now you're going to see that I have all my credentials for my database right here. So if you want, to actually edit it and see it, you're going to click on PHP MyAdmin. It's going to give you it. So it auto put in your username, but it will not put in your password. So just copy the password and paste it. Note that there's sometimes we'll copy a space at the end, so just go to the end and just remove the space if it's there. Click on OK, and now we're in. So now you see S4796_5M is our database that we're going to be working with here. So now I'm going to click on Import. I'm going to choose a file. I'm going to import ESX v1 SQL. I'm going to click on Go, and then it's going to import the file for me and set up the database. So you see we've finished 577 queries. So now if you look here, there's going to be an entire database made for us, all set up for the ESX. Nice, fine, dandy, all set up for us, ready to go. Hopefully you guys don't hear the thunder outside, but there is a little bit of thunder. Sorry if that shows up on the video. But now, all we have to do is, so we've set up our database, all that good stuff here. So I'm going to show you guys as well how to actually set it up for uh, ESX. So whenever you set up an ESX server, you're going to need a few more things than just base ESX. So I'm just going to go over to my mod manager here, mod manager, and you're going to want to have MySQL async and async. So the MySQL async is so it's right to work with it's set to work with MySQL, and sync async. It's kind of confusing, but I recommend definitely using MySQL async and async combined, as it makes so async is required for ESX. MySQL syncs everything together for you. So now actually, if we just refresh here, you're gonna see that it popped up in here for us, just nice and fine like that. So now, one thing is, so once we have those two installed, I do believe that all we have to do now is just go to the server CFG here. Gonna open that up, and then you're gonna see here that it set everything up for us here, and then we have to set the MySQL connection string address in here. So to access that, I'm gonna go to databases, and then I'm just going to input the information as I see it here. So database. So that is the that's the database, obviously. So the host is the server. Make sure there's no spaces. The username is the user ID. And then I'm gonna scroll over here. Then password is obviously password. Make sure there's no spaces. Save that. And now we're ready to log into the database. I'm going to show you guys what that looks like if we do have a successful login. So I'm going to minimize this. Maybe go to my console here. And now I'm going to click on start. So now all my ESX should start up, and we should be connected to the database. We're going to know that we're connected when because there will be an error in console if we are not. So you're going to see that everything is connected, well, started at least. Everything's starting up nice. We have no errors so far here. And we're going to see Essential mode worked. Everything is good with Essential mode. As well as, if we scroll up a little bit here, try and find it. Can't seem to find it, but we don't have any errors at least. So that's always good. Oh, here we go right here, database server connection established. Now, to actually join the server, there is two ways of being able to join. So one way is how I showed you earlier, via the configuration connection address right here. But I'd actually recommend, and I personally prefer, to connect via just a straight up IP. So to get the IP, we're going to go to our server CFG and just copy this top line right here. Just going to copy that and launch FiveM. So as well as having the connection address and the IP, we could of course just search up the server name, which in this case would be Iceline Hosting demo server. So when we launch FiveM, I'm going to show you guys the few ways of connecting that I'd recommend. So to search up the server, we're going to hit play. And then as you guys can see, I already have Iceline searched here, but we're going to search through and see if we could get the server name. Let me just remove this variable at first and then type it in again. Iceline Hosting Demo Panel. So now you guys will see all the resources that I have here, as well as there is another way of doing it to where we just go to the home, press F8 and type connect, and then okay, so now we're loading in, and you'll see that we do a default loading screen. This is due to the fact that we actually don't have a loading screen resource. If you'd like to find a loading screen resource, you could just check the FiveM forums for the public releases. I will leave a link to public releases down below as well. But that's just another option. It's a really great resource for just finding, well, resources, put simply. But there is the ESX forums as well that I'll also leave a link to. So you'll see right here that when we load in, we have everything, we have ESX installed. This is a very bare bones version of ESX, but nevertheless, it is still ESX. So it is really that simple, guys, to set up a full ESX server, or even a vMenu server for that matter, where all you'd have to do really for vMenu is just either install it yourself, go through the mod manager and install it. But either way, you have successfully made a server using Iceline Hosting. You are now set up for success with your server. You are now all ready to start dropping in your resources and all that fun stuff, guys. Hope this video was helpful, hope this was educational, and I hope that you do enjoy your server hosted through Iceline Hosting. Have a good one, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.